Kristen, I am so energized by this collaboration. The V Foundation has always believed that the fastest way to victory over cancer is through partnerships. And what we've built together with the Cancer Vaccine Coalition, I think really captures that spirit. It's science, it's heart, and purpose that come together to change what's possible for patients. Uh, I'd love for you to share a bit about why you thought the V Foundation was the right strategic partner for the Cancer Vaccines Coalition's ambition and for your vision for how our collaboration will accelerate cancer research.
Right. And I've told you this. I mean, I think, Susanna, from the beginning, we were so in alignment on everything. It felt not just like a friend, but like someone I could really build something with as a small organization. We were looking at who in the nonprofit world is doing things right. And obviously, the V
Yeah.
Foundation is an incredible organization. It's donated over 400 million in
Mm.
grants. And so we want to be like you and we wanted to work with you. From the beginning, Cancer Vaccine Coalition was really laser focused on this
Mhm.
idea. We're the only nonprofit laser focused on, clinical trials for cancer vaccines. But
Hmm.
just because we have that narrow focus doesn't mean that we don't recognize that we really need everybody to get this done.
Yeah.
And so the idea has always been, how do we get the best, the smartest, the most impactful people together in a room, so to speak, to get these better, less toxic treatments to patients sooner. And as a patient myself, there's nothing more important than just making a better experience for people who are unfortunately
Mhm.
diagnosed with cancer. And so we recognized that your scientific advisory committee and your experience in this space could really help what we were doing and help us to decide which are the most impactful
Yeah.
trials. How do we move things forward faster? And so we're also just so excited and so grateful to be partnered with you. And I really feel like together we can do these incredible things.
Yeah, absolutely. From the day I met you and learned about the Cancer Vaccine Coalition, you're just so innovative, and it's that focus on innovation, which is why I think that this particular collaboration really fits so perfectly with what you described, and with our V Foundation's Game Changer grants. They're designed to really drive research that's bold and early and quite frankly full of potential. And I also love that our partnership doesn't just combine funding, it's combining expertise, right? Which I think you shared really elegantly. I think that the Cancer Vaccine Coalition brings this laser focus on vaccine development. And you're right, the V Foundation brings this rigorous scientific review process that ensures we're supporting the very best ideas. And I think together we're accelerating impact.
Right. And I'm so curious, from your perspective as a scientist, I think as many
Mm-hmm.
people may know, I come at this as a journalist.
Yeah.
So while I was doing medical reporting a lot for NBC News, the Today Show and Nightly News,
Mm-hmm.
I have my experience as a patient and looking at things as a journalist. You come to this as a scientist. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious, what are some of the areas you see as unique and innovative right now in this space that we're both so interested in?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I think this is such an exciting moment in cancer vaccine research. We are seeing approaches that not only train the immune system to recognize and eliminate cancer cells, but also create this long lasting immune memory. So even years later, the body remembers and the cancer and can fight back. And I think what's really groundbreaking here is how personalized these vaccines are becoming, right? So instead of this one size fits all approach, which we've all known so well, we can tailor vaccines to each patient's tumor and to an immune profile. And for many patients, this means moving beyond traditional treatments that have the harsh side effects that we're familiar with and moving towards a future where the immune system itself is really part of the cure, which I love. And I think for me, this is really why I'm so excited about this first major award from our partnership, because it's exactly the kind of science that really embodies that hope.
Uh,
Um,
I was
yeah.
just going to say, I think there's so much talk right now about vaccines too. And so I wanted
Mhm.
to get, you to help people understand these are different than infectious
Mhm.
disease vaccines. So it's a different conversation. And the
Yeah,
NIH has been supportive of this idea that cancer vaccine research should continue.
absolutely. Yeah.
So what is it that makes it uh, different and promising, and how should people be looking at it? As a patient, I always say it's not going to be mandated. You can't catch cancer from me.
Right.
This is just an opportunity for someone who has cancer or who has
Mhm.
already had cancer to get a better, less toxic treatment.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite different than when we think about a preventative vaccine. These are therapeutic vaccines where we can take what our immune system is so amazing at, which is recognizing proteins and structures. And we can then train our immune system using a vaccine to recognize the very beginnings of cancer or reemergence of a cancer for a patient who has previously had a cancer treatment. One of the things that we're always concerned about are the cells that we leave behind. Our traditional treatments like surgery and radiation and chemotherapy are really our first line of care. But one of the concerns we always have is, did we leave one cell? And that's what our immune system is amazing at, is finding that one cancer cell and eliminating it. But sometimes the immune system needs a boost. And that's what these therapeutic vaccines do, is that they encourage the immune system, educate it as to what a cancer cell looks like, and then the immune system can go in and just knock it out. So quite different than a preventative vaccine, which is where we are um, pre-staging the immune response to say, hey, you may come into contact with this flu virus this year, and this is what it looks like. And if you see it, we're going to knock it out. So this is quite different, because this is taking an individual who has had a cancer diagnosis. We know that the immune system can recognize cancer cells, but in this patient, it hasn't. And so it's boosting the immune response to that specific cancer. Absolutely incredible. Yeah.
I love
I,
that.
um, I would love for you to really help us or talk to us about that $500,000 grant, our first major partnership that we recently awarded to the Cancer Vaccine Institute at the University of Washington School of Medicine, because it applies everything we just talked about to a very specific research project.
Yeah, and that was such a huge moment for us and for this partnership. And you just talked about that one cell left behind. As a
Mhm.
cancer survivor, that's what keeps
Mm.
me up at night. And I know that experience is very similar to a lot of us, because
Yeah.
right now treatments are, you go through your frontline treatment and then you
Hmm.
kind of just wait, and
Yeah.
you're literally waiting to see if you have a pain, a headache, a backache, and then they'll scan you to see if
Mm-hmm.
that's a recurrence or a metastases. That is a terrible way to live. So this inaugural grant is expanding the phase 2 clinical trial for the WalkVac vaccine. So
Hmm.
it allows these researchers led by Dr. Will Gwynn and Nora Desis at the University of Washington's Cancer Vaccine Institute to enroll additional
Hmm.
participants into this trial. It's for HER2 positive breast cancer, which is a subtype of breast cancer. It's, an aggressive one.
Hmm.
And so what this is looking at, though, is giving the vaccine in newly diagnosed patients before
Hmm.
they have those frontline treatments. And we are literally looking for recurrence prevention. So, can adding this layer of vaccination, this instructing immune systems what to look for, can that prevent recurrence down the line? Because we know that not every patient in your surgery and in your chemo and radiation do you get every
Yeah.
last cell. So, will this vaccine, and they're seeing incredible results so far, will that extra layer of protection be the
Hmm.
difference and keep more people from having recurrences? Because I think it's between 20 and 30% of
Hmm.
breast cancer patients has metastatic, even though they're diagnosed at early stage breast cancer. And so we really want to find those interventions, and this trial is going to
Hmm.
be big part of that. And by getting more patients involved, we increase the statistical significance
Yep.
of what the researchers are seeing. And we get to have an additional bunch of patients get this vaccine, which hopefully helps them. So, this is the start of really big things. And that's so important in
Hmm.
this process of getting these vaccines to everyone who needs them, getting them through the approval
Hmm.
process. We need to get the data. And so this
Yeah.
is a big step in getting that data.
Yeah. I absolutely love this trial. I hear from so many patients that in some ways it's harder to be a cancer thriver than a cancer patient, which I think is what you alluded to is that weight. Um, every ache, every pain, is that my cancer coming back? And to me, this research is such a powerful example of what we could do for patients, both those patients that are in that thriver state, and then, as you described, patients who are just beginning this cancer journey. What Dr. Desis and her team are doing at the University of Washington is exactly what we mean by game changing science, right? They're taking what is, I think, an incredibly promising concept and giving it the scale, right, that it needs to have impact. So by expanding this trial, they're not just enrolling more patients, right? They're going to strengthen this data, they're going to strengthen the science, and I think ultimately the hope that this vaccine represents. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and they've got some really exciting research in other subtypes as well, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we're continuing to raise money for is, what other trials need to be funded? What other points along the continuum of cancer care need to have these
Mm-hmm.
interventions? And so that's why I'm so excited about our partnership and what we're going to do from here. How do you envision our work together really helping out patients and advancing research around vaccines?
Oh my goodness. I think this is where this model really shines. The V Foundation Scientific Advisory Committee has some of the most accomplished researchers in the world. And we are able to ensure that every dollar goes to the science, like this trial, with the strongest potential for patient impact. Um, One of the things I really love about this area of research is honestly the ripple effect. The breakthroughs that we're seeing in therapeutic breast cancer vaccines will not only inform other types of breast cancer, like you described, but it's going to inform immunotherapy across all cancers, lung, prostate, ovarian. I mean, really, you name it. I think by accelerating this field now, we're not just advancing this one set of trials, we're going to build a foundation for the next generation of immune based cancer treatments. So I think that the impact for many patients is going to be enormous. Yeah.
And I love that you said that because while Cancer Vaccine Coalition started with a focus on breast cancer, just because that's what I had and
Mm-hmm.
kind of what I knew, we've recognized that there is incredible research going on across all different types of cancers. And so this idea that we can support all of that, we can fund trials in different cancers
Mm-hmm.
because we've seen incredible results in pancreatic cancer and
Mm-hmm.
glioblastoma, two cancers that, were once a death sentence. And now we're
Yeah.
seeing that the immune system actually can react to and help eliminate those diseases. And so it is just across cancer that there is so much
Mm-hmm.
potential here, and why I'm so excited to have the support of an organization like the V Foundation to help us build this and support scientists who are doing this work.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're so grateful to everyone who's supported us so far. We're continuing to raise money, to fund more and more trials because I didn't get into this to do things slow or small. It really is this idea that we can accelerate
Mm-hmm.
this because there are patients out there who need these vaccines now.
Yeah.
And so I'm not going to sit back and wait for someone else to do this work. It's why I left my job in TV to, start
Mm-hmm.
Cancer Vaccine Coalition and really get things moving faster for the patients who are
Mm-hmm.
in need. I hope someday down the line, there's a vaccine trial for my type of estrogen
Mm-hmm.
positive early stage breast
Absolutely.
cancer. I know it's coming. And I will be, raising my hand and these trials and the participants
Mhm.
in them are just so inspiring to me. And we want to get more and more spots available for people.
Yeah, 1000%. I have always loved your energy, your passion. I am grateful for your vision and, quite frankly, for your partnership. I think that this collaboration between the Cancer Vaccine Coalition and the V Foundation for Cancer Research really embodies everything that we believe at the V Foundation, which is if you have really bold science and you back it with courage and compassion, that changes the world for patients. I think together we're not only funding research, but we're really fueling hope, and we're doing it faster than ever before. So thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. And, as the V Foundation says, this is going to lead to victory over cancer. And I can't wait for that moment.
1000%.